Hey guys, so welcome to F1 2020. Now this is a pre-release build. This is a special media release build as they're calling it. So this isn't going to be a review video as such, but what I wanted to do today is just basically take you through a race. Now I'm going to do a familiar track here. I know there's a couple of new circuits and we'll be taking a look at those a little bit later on, but I thought as a sort of way to sort of talk you through what I'm experiencing as I do it, the best way to do that would be to drive a familiar track, familiar car, and basically just sort of see how things have changed from F1 2019. So let's just jump straight in. It's going to be a 14-lap race around Australia or Melbourne. So let's not waste any time. Let's get going. All right, so starting from the back of the grid, I figured that'd be a good way to sort of see how the cars respond to overtaking and stuff. One of my frustrations with F1 2019 was the way the cars kind of just parked on the apex, or kind of you could position yourself in a manner that they would always kind of let you past. So I want to see whether that's changed in 2020. I'm going to keep saying F1 2019 just as a force of habit, so I apologize in advance for that. Get around here. Whoa! Don't think we got any damage. A little bit of a wheel bang. See if we can get around Perez as well. Should be able to. So this is literally the first time I've jumped in and driven. So it does feel a little bit different to F1 2019. The car is a little looser in the rear end, but it feels instantly familiar. Like, it's not different enough that I would say you have to relearn. Now there are some new options, some new configuration options as well, to make the game a little more accessible for newbies, which is good, I think, in my opinion. As long as it doesn't sort of take away from the overall driving feel for those like me who prefer a more sort of simulator experience. Now, admittedly, it's not the most accurate sim in the world, and that hasn't changed. It's still, you know, it's still a simcade, I would say. And it would be nice to see it sort of go down a more simulation path in the future. But, you know, that's not really where the money is in these kinds of games, and, you know, you got to kind of accept that, I guess, to an extent. But I would like to see it sort of go in a direction where it gets a little bit more simulation focused without sort of destroying it for those who want to pick up and play instant gratification style gameplay. But it does strike a good balance, and this feels very similar to what we're used to in previous titles. So if you like the way the previous games feel, you'll like this as well. It's just a little bit more skatey in the rear end. I don't have any assists on here at all. We're running completely clean. And the cars aren't defending particularly heavily, but we do have the AI turned down to about 70%. I wanted to sort of just see how they behave. Now, one interesting thing is that particular corner just back there, that the AI in F1 2019 was really slow through there. Now, they tell me that the AI is still not finalized for 2020, so this is by no means, as I said before, this is by no means a review. I can only go on what I have in front of me right now. Get him. See you, Lando. Now, one other thing we do have as well is an overtake button now. So rather than having a setting on our ERS for overtake mode, it's kind of similar to what we used to have with KERS back a few years ago. So we've got a button that we can assign now for overtake, and that uses some of our battery charge, and then we regenerate it throughout the course of the rest of the lap. So it can take a lap or two to regenerate if it's anything like real life. At least that's what I assume, because we haven't seen the 2020 cars actually in action yet this year. It's a weird year, because we're playing a game that's simulating something that doesn't exist at this point in time. But Codeys have been pretty good in the past at sort of adapting and changing things throughout the year with patches to sort of account for the real world performance of the cars. So I guess we can expect that again. Oh, that was tight. We've got DRS now. So we got past Raikkonen. Oh, big lock up. First proper mistake. Now, another thing we should mention as well, that they have confirmed that there's not going to be any VR support again this year, which I will admit I'm a little disappointed about. I think the reason they gave was that it's particularly difficult to implement on this engine, I think is what they said. Don't quote me on that. There was a statement, I'll link it in the description below, where they talked about the reasons why. Ooh, I'm not going to go for that move. It's going to be really interesting to see how Ricciardo does go this year, or this half a year, or whatever you want to call it. Should be able to send it down the inside here, I think. So he's defending. Definitely a little bit of defense there. And it doesn't seem to be quite so predictable. Like as I said before, with the previous year's game, you could kind of just put your car on the inside and they'd always get out of the way, so you could kind of work with it. Doesn't seem to be quite so much the case this year. Now we should talk about graphics as well. The graphics have improved again. I do have them maxed out, so running ultra or high or ultra high, whatever, you know, whatever the maximum setting is for everything. And it looks really good. They've also got this resolution scaling setting now as well, which is really cool. Similar to what we talked about in previous videos with VRSS. So what it does is it adjusts the resolution scale so to sort of maintain the frame rate. So as the demand on the system increases, the resolution is reduced to maintain the frame rate. And it actually works quite well. I've got it turned down at the moment to 70% minimum, so the resolution's able to reduce by up to 30%. And I'm not noticing a massive impact on the overall visual fidelity. Like, it is dropping down a little bit. I can see a little bit of aliasing going on around the edges that lets me know that it's working, but my frame rate is sitting solid at 120 frames per second, which is what I've got it set at. And that's at a massive resolution of 10440 by 1440 or something like. It's, yeah, I'm struggling to remember. What is it? It's 10440 by 1440 or something like. I can't remember, but a massive resolution anyway. I'll write it in the description. I can't remember properly while I'm driving here. It's very difficult to try and race and learn a new game while you're talking. Alright, let's get DRS and see if we can get past him. Should be right this time. Got him up to 7th. But yeah, it seems to work really well, and it seems to run really efficiently as well. I haven't had any frame skips or anything like that. Frame skips weren't quite such an issue with F1 2019. 2018, I had all sorts of problems with it. Admittedly, I have built a new system since then as well, though, but haven't had any problems with game crashes or anything like that. Again, we are still in an early release, so we can't really comment on stability, but so far it has been rock solid, so that's good to note. But yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, if you love F1 2019, then this is every bit as good, and there are some minor improvements, so I certainly wouldn't say it's groundbreaking by any means, but it does all the right things. Now, there's no multiplayer in this build either, so I can't test that just yet. Up the inside. So there you go, there's that little bit of oversteer happening again. So the car is just a little bit more lively than what I'm used to. Should be able to send it up the inside if we position ourselves. Defending. Oh, got a frame skip there. So we just had a big micro freeze there, but again, I'm not gonna judge it on that because we know it is pre-release. So, but it did happen. I'm not gonna pretend it didn't happen. Apparently, we're boxing this lap, so we'll see how pit stops work. See if we have manual pit stops now. I doubt it. I very much doubt if they've changed that, but we could get lucky. Ooh, Verstappen's slow. We're going to end up getting undercut if we don't pick up the pace. Not quite close enough. Overtake button. Oh, a bit of a squeeze. He's defending.
Good job. Nice overtake.
Okay, up to second, but we do have to pit. Okay, let's bring it in. It's telling me to engage the pit limiter. I can't see where the box marker is because I was having to hold down the... Couldn't see where the marker was because of the prompt, is what I'm trying to say. There goes Bottas. So third place. See if we can catch these leaders. Alright, starting to get close to Vettel now. Whoa! Big twitch. It really does swing on you. It feels a little artificial in how you catch the slide though. Like it kind of just comes back to you. Probably just because I'm getting used to it, but it does definitely feel quite different. We've got 4 laps left, or 3 laps left at the end of this lap to try and catch Bottas. I think we'll get past Vettel. Alright, this is where I'm good at overtaking. Alright, got him. So they do defend well. They kind of move in, but they don't completely squeeze you in, and they don't park on the apex, which is nice. Whoa! One cool thing I have noticed, the sound is quite a lot better than it was last year as well. When you get up against the wall, you can really hear it echoing, which is nice. But the engine sounds are a little nicer as well, at least in my opinion. Oh, we got close, but it's not going to be close enough. Oh! Oh, he was ghosted. Didn't know what was going on there. Well, we didn't quite get first, but we were close. But that was a lot of fun. I always enjoy a good F1 session. I know it cops a bit of flack from the more hardcore sim community, but I do really enjoy the game. There we go. We got driver of the day at least. So there you go, guys. That is just a quick look at F1 2020. Obviously, there's not a whole lot that I'm able to sort of share at the moment, but as we get closer to the final build, I'll obviously be reviewing a lot more and doing a proper review. I'm kind of against doing a proper review style video on software that's not completed yet because I feel like it can be a little bit misleading, but that should give you a little bit of a taste of what's in store for you for F1 2020. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up if you have. Make sure you're subbed, hit the notification bell too so you don't miss future videos, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.